Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this update of G Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. It is May something, 11th, 10th, something like that. I'll put it in the title. Anyway, what you're looking at is I got some drywall up today. Yep, I threw up some drywall. I guess I ate it too fast. Didn't settle well. Anyway, I got it all in there, but the winds have been hellacious today. Terrible winds. Oh my God. So I had to knock off. I couldn't finish up this wall, and I couldn't finish up the areas above and below the windows and above the door. Well, even though I've got that drywall outside for all of these little patches, I need one more sheet. Can't believe I miscalculated by one sheet for this wall. Anyway, the winds have just really kicked up, and I had trouble hauling these panels in here and getting them installed because the way the winds were gusting. And I'm talking better than 20 miles an hour out here. It just gusting probably 24, 25, 26, somewhere in there. And they say it's going to be worse tomorrow. So what can I do? Anyway, I did have one casualty from the wind, and that was this panel. I had it all cut and ready to go, and I had the hole cut out in the center for where the ceiling fan goes. And I was hauling it in here, and a big gust of wind came and grabbed a hold of it and broke it right across the center. Wouldn't you know it? But it doesn't matter. I'll just put it back together with some tape and some mud, and you'll never know that it was ever broken, unless you look back at my videos, right? All right. So this is where the ceiling takes two different levels, and I've got to put a little strip in there, and I'll be doing that when I get some time. Also, if it's windy tomorrow, like they say it's going to be, I can get in. I've taken all my measurements. I can do the strips that I need to go around the windows, the inside of the window frames, on that side and on that side. And on this side, it gets these L pieces around these windows. You see how they're shaped. Well, when I do these, the metal on this, I can't put it up because it's too tall, but it goes up like this against that edge of the drywall, and it gives me a nice straight metal edge, and I can adjust it if there's a little variance. I can adjust it to make sure it's nice and straight, and then I shoot the screws in on this side, and then I'll tape this down. And then where it touches the wood on the inside, I'll run a bead of caulk down there before I paint. And that gives me a nice straight seamed edge. And I just realized that when I was looking at these pieces that I forgot to pick up two extras, because when I cut those down to fit this 6-foot level, there's only going to be a 2-foot piece left over, and it's not going to be able to fit there. But I had planned that because the 2-foot pieces are going to go around this window. And there's a 2-foot by 2-foot window. So what I cut off of these does that window, but I needed two more so that I can cut them in half, because those are just under 4 feet, and these are 8-foot pieces. I put one at the top, one at the bottom, one at the top, one at the bottom. And yeah, I had to lower the blinds down today because the holders that hold the strings that keep them in the up position are fastened into the walls at that point, and I had to take them off so I could put the drywall up. So those will go back up when I finish that. Also, I moved my TV over here because it's going to go on the wall right up and hide the electrical and the antenna area, but I'm checking the antenna to make sure it works. And I'm watching a really distant channel here. So actually, it's an analog channel, so it doesn't come in really crystal clear. But it's a good movie, so I figured I'd watch it. Anyway, that's where I'm at. Now, there's another area up there where I can hook a TV, and I've got the wire pushed inside there with the cover plate because I still have to tape and mud all of this. And I didn't get that point because, like I said, the winds settled me down today. And I was a little frustrated when that little break happened, but hey, I don't let that stuff set me back. I just keep on moving. All right, had a question about I am going to put doors on this laundry area so it hides the laundry area. And the question was, why didn't I frame it in? Well, what's going here is 8-foot tall sliding closet type doors. And I'll be making those myself. They're not store-bought. And what I'll be doing is I'll be putting a piece of 1x pine all the way down that wall and all the way down that wall at the point where the doors hit. And then at the top, there'll be a 1x pine up there that'll support the hanging rail, because these will have wheels at the top that go in a hanging rail there, and they'll be bypass doors just like a big closet. So you can slide one or slide the other one and open up half the opening. So I'll be using this half most of the time, and that half only when I have to get into the cabinets. And then down the line when that barrel moves out, because I'll be putting in a drain line that goes directly to my gray water pit. That barrel comes out and I'll be putting in a cabinet countertop type thing there where I can fold clothes and things like that. All right, so wanted to cover all of that. Now, I did make a promise, and I'm going to have to go out in this wind, so bear with me if I get drowned out on the way. But I did make a promise that I was going to show the automatic screw gun that you use for putting drywall up. Oh, wouldn't you know it? The wind just died down. End of day, wind dies down, sun's getting ready to set. There you go, right? Oh, it's in this one. And I set it right here. These are made by Senco company. And, well, this is one of them. And this is the other. And this is what they look like. Okay, made by Senco. There's some information if you want to copy that down. I'll give you a few seconds for that, or you can just pause the video and print screen if you want. All right, so anyway, this is what the gun looks like. And it's not a small toy, it's a heavy-duty unit. And it's got a button here to lock the trigger in place. So you squeeze the trigger, press the button, and the trigger stays locked in, and it'll just keep on running, but it's not touching the screw yet. Now there is a screwdriver bit inside of there, and you actually have to press this against something, and when you do, the next screw is rotated into place right underneath the screwdriver, and it drives it into the wall. And you set these things right here. This is set for 1.25" screw. So you have these drivers here to change the drivers if you're using a square drive or whatever. These Allen wrenches are for changing, loosening this nut and changing the setting for the depth. And they come with an extra piece here, so if you ever wear that out, you can change it to this one. And that's it. So the strips go in just like this. You line the strip in there and pull it into place and align it one empty hole up before the first screw. Because when you push on this, it loads the first screw Let me see if I can get that in frame. It loads the first screw right into position so that as you're pushing in on it, the driver will catch the screw and drive it right into the drywall. And if you have your settings on this properly, it'll countersink it just right so it doesn't tear the paper. So you don't end up having to add extra screws because you drove the screw all the way through the paper and broke the paper. Remember, code says that if you break the paper with a screw or a nail, you have to put another screw or nail right beside it. So that's a waste of time. This thing goes a lot faster. Now, if I was doing a whole house where I had a lot of drywall to do, this would come into play and it would be very handy. But doing a small job like I'm doing on my cabin, which is just one room, I don't really need to use this. Of course, it would make things go faster, but then I'd have to go buy a pack of these 1¼ inch screws, and I'll show you those in a second. They come in a bucket. And let me put my snake screen back up here, because it is snake season. We don't want any visitors getting into the container while I'm not paying attention, or even while I'm paying attention. So I'll show you the bucket that those screws come in, and this is all strips that are ready to go on these windows and so forth. But again, the winds shut me down for a while here. Okay, so when you buy the screws, they come in a bucket like this, and these are grip right collated screws, and they come in a flexible strip. These are 1 5/8, but I have that set for 1¼ inch. And that's what I would normally use for 1/2 inch drywall on the ceilings. 5/8 drywall on the walls, I would go to the 1 5/8. So anyway, this is all stuff that I bought at Home Depot. And there's 800 screws in here. Each one of these strips, that collated screws, has 50 screws in it. So you can really go to town when you're putting drywall up. It's not worth buying one of these if you're just doing a small job, because you're going to use it once and then you're stuck with it. And they're not cheap. But like I said, I was a building contractor and I had these things because we did this all the time. And a lot of the guys that are professional drywall hangers, they own their own. They bring their own tools. They don't want to use somebody else's. But that's where I wanted to go with this. That's all there is to it for today, everybody. This is G Bear reminding you, give me a thumbs up down there, please. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It's free. It's always free to subscribe. G Bear signing off.